Welcome to another episode of The Wave. My name is Adam.
My name's Nick. Welcome back to the weekly news and chat show from the world famous Bottom of the Stream podcast. Maybe slightly less chat this week.
Yes,
on the Wave
we do need to cut The Wave short slightly this week.
for
logistical reasons.
boring real life reasons.
Yeah.
But all your premium news content will still be here.
The headphones have just gone off.
Oh, no. Mine are fine.
Mine have gone up. Mine are back? They're back.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going away for the weekend, so I've got no time to edit. So we need to cut
One
The Wave
take,
short.
straight through.
Straight through. No edits, no cuts.
Absolute pros.
Please don't complain about the poor quality of this episode if it is poor. Have you been, Nick?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
Been up to much?
I mean, all those festive things seem a long time ago.
They do, don't they? Don't they seem like a distant memory?
They really do. I back into the swing of real life, I guess.
It certainly is. You know what does seem a distant memory?
What's that?
Payday. Oh, God. Feels like a long time ago since I had money.
Mine's weird.
No, is it?
Mine's in the middle of the month.
Ah, okay. So yours is soon.
Yeah.
See, they always pay us early in December,
Okay.
but then they don't pay us early in January. So
Oh,
it's have
right.
to go longer.
So you're in a bit of a fallow
Yeah, absolutely.
period.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Fun
God.
times.
Okay. Wow. Do you know what's priceless?
What?
Finding a hidden gem at the bottom of the stream.
Do you think we'll feel like we did that last week?
I think we did.
Yeah?
Our first episode of season 10.
There's the girl in the yellow jumper.
Yeah, and that's the movie we talked about last Thursday. Well, that's when the episode was released.
Yes.
It's there for you to find. What a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
that
Uganda's
movie was.
first ever feature film.
Yeah, really interesting story behind the movie.
Yes.
And a really interesting movie.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great start to the season, I thought.
Yeah.
Really set us up nicely.
Yeah, I just, as we said on the episode, it borrowed a bit from things like Seven, Saw, but
Yeah.
it's a good recommend for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Where else are you going to see a Ugandan feature film?
Exactly. Or hear two
Literally
guys
nowhere,
talking
because
about
there
one.
isn't any more.
No, there isn't any more.
But hopefully, it will only be a matter of time until there is. Go and check out our episode from last week.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, shall we jump straight into the Netflix news?
Let's do it. And this week, we can talk about the winners of the Golden Globes.
They snuck up on me a little bit this year.
Yeah?
I didn't even know they were coming.
Your favourite type of
I knew it
globe?
was like-
Is it a golden one?
Yeah, maybe. Travelling the...
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about the Golden Globes, and then Monday morning it was just like, oh, the Golden Globes happened last night.
The 81st annual
Wow,
ceremony.
indeed.
And traditionally, the results of the Globes are seen as a pretty safe rehearsal, I guess,
Yeah.
for what Oscar results might be and BAFTAs.
Yes.
So that's why they can be quite interesting. First major awards of the season. Should we go through some of the winners?
Let's go through a few, yeah, definitely.
Best film drama was Oppenheimer.
It's a bit of a surprise one. I don't think anybody was expecting that one to win.
I think that Killers of the Flower Moon was
Yeah.
high up on a lot of... Which, interestingly, this isn't a news item, but it is... By the time this episode comes out, if you've got Apple TV+, Killers of the Flower Moon is available for you to stream.
Oh, really? Okay.
If you didn't check it out when it was released in cinemas.
I do have Apple TV+.
206 minutes of it or something. The best female actor in a film / drama was from Killers of the Flower Moon, and that went to Lily Gladstone.
Yeah, congratulations to Lily Gladstone.
Best film, musical or comedy was Poor Things.
We'll come back to Poor Things later on because I watched it on Monday.
Fantastic.
So we'll do some discussion on that in a little while.
I think one of the headlines from the Golden Globes, it was the lack of awards won by Barbie.
Yes.
Which
Snub?
it's difficult, isn't it? Because yes, I think it is.
Yeah.
And especially when you consider sort of the underlying feminism of Barbie, which is great, and that seems to have just been completely snubbed. Yeah.
Having seen both Barbie and Poor Things, I think the right one won. In terms of film.
Is Poor Things a musical or comedy? I always think this sort of category is weird.
There's a real debate going on about one of the awards in this.
Yes, we'll come to that in a short while, I think.
But yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Emma Stone plays it comedically.
The best male actor in a film, musical, or comedy went to Paul Giamatti.
It did
in
indeed.
The Holdovers. Paul Giamatti, who most impactfully on the night was pictured eating his dinner after the ceremony at In-N-Out Burger, still in his tux.
Yeah, with his golden
with his
globe
award on the table.
In a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, he beat out the likes of old Timothy Chalamet in Wonka and Nicolas Cage in Dream Scenario.
Nicolas Cage, I didn't know he'd been nominated.
Best TV series drama, Succession.
Yeah.
I mean, it was its last year.
Succession's
critics
finished,
love
isn't
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never watched it. This came up in our Discord, didn't it?
I don't think anybody in our Discord's watched it.
And yes, might be in our community.
Apologies, just dropped my phone.
Might be in our community the only example of the most successful TV show no one's watched.
Nobody's watched. Yeah, I think you're right.
Best female actor in a TV series drama was Sarah Snook from Succession.
Cool.
Best TV series musical or comedy was The Bear.
Yeah, this is the one I've heard some debate about.
I can't remember any singing and dancing numbers in it.
Is it a comedy? I've not seen it.
I would say no.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a comedy.
I saw, I think it was Richard Osman was doing his podcast and he was
It's a drama.
He couldn't get his head around how The Bear keeps winning comedy awards.
Yeah. It beat out some proper comedies as well.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso, Abbott Elementary, Jury Duty, Only Murders in the Building, and Barry.
I've seen 4 of the 5 of them and they're all really good. I haven't seen The Bear, unfortunately.
The best limited TV series, anthology series, or TV movie went to Beef.
Yeah, big Netflix win.
Does they have to hand this award back if they end up doing season 2?
Yes.
Because then it's not a limited series.
Yes, absolutely.
I think this is quite a new award.
It is the first time this award's been.
It is the first time, and it does feel a bit like, oh, sorry guys, but at least have this one.
Yeah, definitely that's what it is.
Was the award for cinematic and box office achievement,
Yeah,
which did go to Barbie.
Who made the most money? You did. You can have this award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, sure, fine. Best male actor in a film drama went to Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he also beat some big names.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio, Andrew Scott, Barry Keogh, I can never. I've been practicing that all week.
Go on, keep trying.
Keogh.
I think it's Keoghan.
Oh, whatever.
I think he says Keoghan.
I've got no Irish.
I'd say Kean.
I've got
I
no
think
Irish
he
in
says
my family.
Keoghan. I haven't either.
Best female actor in a film, musical, or comedy went to Emma Stone.
No surprise there.
The aforementioned Poor Things.
After seeing that film, no surprise at all.
Best director went to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer.
They named that best director in a film.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Christopher Nolan is not in Oppenheimer.
I don't know. Look, I've said before, I'm not always Nolan's biggest fan, but he's a critical darling, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I'm not decrying Oppenheimer, but I'm not sure he's the best choice out of.
I think he'll get the Oscar for that.
I think he will as well.
I don't think the film will.
Yeah,
but I think he will.
He will.
I think he probably deserves it just for the explosion scene alone. The rest of the film, not so much, but that explosion scene is cinematic.
You could never see, because they take themselves so seriously. I'm not picking on any ceremony or awards in particular. You just couldn't see any of them giving Greta Gerwig a Best Director award for Barbie.
No, definitely not.
Despite the achievement that it is.
Yeah.
The best male actor in a TV series drama also went to Succession. It was Kieran Culkin.
Yes.
Beat
Brian Cox.
Yeah. The best female actor in a TV series, musical or comedy went to Ayo Edebiri from The Bear.
It feels like they've just squeezed The Bear in there.
She must be really impressed with winning.
Is The Bear still going or is it finished?
No, it's still going. So you will find the first 2 seasons on over here. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I didn't know if they just tried to squeeze it in to give it some awards because it had finished and Succession was going to win them all. So it's like we'll chuck it in comedy and give it all the awards.
I believe it's been re-upped.
Okay.
The best male actor in a TV series, musical or comedy went to Jeremy Allen White, also in The Bear. Mr. Hench himself. Well, Hench through the Iron Claw.
Yes.
Best Supporting Male Actor in a TV Series, Matthew McFadden in Succession. Best Supporting Female Actor in a TV Series, Elizabeth Debicki in The Crown.
Who does she play in The Crown?
She is Princess Diana.
Oh, then okay, the older one.
And then just a couple more of acting ones to round it off. Best Male Actor in a Limited TV Series went to Stephen Yeun in Beef.
Yep.
Best Female Actor in a Limited TV Series to Ali Wong in Beef. Best Supporting Male Actor in a Film, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer.
I don't get that one.
Is he in it for very long?
No.
Okay. And Best Supporting Female Actor in a Film to Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers.
Great name.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's always interesting to see where awards go leading up to the Oscars.
Sure.
It gives you some way to predict, doesn't it?
I think, obviously, like, within the acting, directing community, it's very, I'm sure, you're very proud once you're awarded these things. I just think, like, for someone like, pick whichever film you want, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, I think anyone, especially if you're involved as a director in the creation of it, you'd be going, it's 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 5 years in this film.
Yeah.
My God.
Will not go away.
Still doing things for it and tours and... Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay. Next piece of news is some numbers. I know you love numbers.
I do indeed.
And beyond the fact that we've got some numbers regarding Netflix's ad tier subscribers...
Okay.
I hope you're sitting down.
I am. You can see that.
Because a presentation was made at the Variety Entertainment Summit last week, of which Netflix were present. And this particular presentation was made by Amy Reinhardt,
Okay.
who is president of advertising for Netflix.
No way.
Not a vice in sight.
We've only ever met vice presidents for films, TV, and games, but for advertising, we meet the president.
Yeah.
Goodness me, that is insane.
I thought you'd be excited.
I'm really excited by that.
Reinhardt,
I think that's a typo.
Reinhardt said, "We are very excited about our engagement of our customers who are on ad-supported plans. 85%, just over 85% of them are streaming on our platform for 2 hours or more per month."
Okay.
I thought he was going to say per day, and then I'd be quite impressed.
2 hours a month
I feel
is
like
not
2
a
hours
lot.
a month is not... But anyway.
That's not even a film.
They also confirmed that they now have 23 million subscribers on the ad-supported tier
Wow.
on Netflix.
You got to call that a success?
So just for context, so 2 months ago, that was at 15 million. So, yeah.
So all these doomsayers that said they were going to leave Netflix, nobody actually did, and lots of people actually came.
Yeah, so just exactly. And just to add a final bit of context to it, Netflix has written to their shareholders to say, of the ad tier subscriptions, they accounted for 30% of all new sign-ups in the countries where
So it's not even
ad-supported is available.
So it's not even all just people downgrading their accounts. It's
Yeah.
new people coming in.
Yeah.
Successful then, isn't it? You can see why Disney and Amazon have followed suit.
Yeah. She said, she finished, we know there's a lot of work to do on our side, but we're about learning and working out with our advertising partners to figure out how do we grow this business in a meaningful way. So, yes, full stream ahead on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the next bit of news, I would encourage people, because this is a significantly long article.
Okay.
But you can...
Wow, it is a long article.
You can go... but I wanted to point it out. So if you go and Google the interview... well, it's more of a profile piece, really, that The Hollywood Reporter has done with David Benoff and Dan Weiss.
Okay, yep.
Which is, I guess, the first part of Netflix's marketing ploy for the forthcoming three-body problem.
Yeah, that's their first thing since Game of Thrones.
Correct. And it's the first project under their £200 million deal that they've signed with Netflix.
Yes.
The full trailer for this show has also come out this week.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that
You can
yet.
go and find it. But these guys are pretty famously quiet.
Yes.
They have never done much media.
I don't even think they have social media, do they?
No, they don't. And the Hollywood Reporter has got this profile piece interview with them, and there's some really interesting stuff in here. And they talk a bit about projects that fell through since they left Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And how they've ended up doing the three-body problem for Netflix. So I will sort of paraphrase some of this, but essentially what Benioff and Weiss have said is when they signed up for Netflix, they had a couple of projects in mind that they would like to pitch and look to move forward on. Yeah. But the three-body problem wasn't actually one of them. In fact, that was given to them to read by Netflix's head of scripted.
Oh, okay.
Peter Friedlander, who had been wanting to make it for years, gave it to them to read, and they said, well, apparently they finished the book within 10 minutes of each other, so they say on this article, and said, yeah, we've got to do it.
Right.
And yeah.
I've got quite a good feeling about
sealed.
this one. I think the three-body problem is going to be quite good.
Vice said, what excited us about Game of Thrones was that when we read George R.R. Martin's book, we said this was something we'd never seen on screen before. In a lot of ways, although three-body problem couldn't be more different from Games of Thrones, it has that in common.
Right, okay. That's a good point. When Game of Thrones came out, it was revolutionary. Nobody had done anything like that.
I don't know if this is a bit of a self-pat on the back, but Benioff said, this was the first thing we come across since Game of Thrones where we were actually scared. Like, we know this is going to be hard.
Okay. I might read this entire article. It sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, I would. I mean, the synopsis of this show is essentially aliens are on their way to Earth.
Yep.
But they're moving quite slowly.
Okay.
It's going to take them 400 years to get there.
Okay.
So this is an epic that's going to span hundreds of years. Following this story. There are a lot of ex-Game of Thrones cast members on this show.
Yeah.
March the 21st, it arrives on Netflix. Go and read this article. Go and check out the trailer. There's a couple of other interesting things here. Again, another sort of self-congratulatory thing. Both Benioff and Weiss say, the reason you won't see any of our names on House of the Dragon or any other forthcoming Game of Thrones stuff, even though contractually we are entitled to have our names on there as producers and get royalties, is that we said no. we don't want
we would like to wash our hands of that.
Yeah,
please.
basically. Which I think once you've signed a $200 million deal with Netflix,
you can afford to do something like that.
You can probably do that. Interestingly, and then we will move on, was they also said they were quite far down the line with their Star Wars. They'd signed up to a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, they had, didn't they?
And essentially Lucasfilm didn't like their story, didn't like their pitch. They wanted to do a origin of the Jedi. Okay. Where does the first lightsaber come from? Where does the Jedi come from? Lucasfilm didn't want to do it. Disney didn't want to do it, which is really interesting because they are now doing some sort of story like that in one of the recently announced Star Wars movies. These guys will not be involved with. So.
Yeah, they should pitch it to Zack Snyder.
What a great idea! That'll never happen. That'll never get off the ground. Surely.
Well, they could just do a Snyder and just make it anyway.
But yeah, there's loads more in there, and
I
I thought it was interesting because those guys do not speak.
No, they don't. I will post that into our Discord as well.
Netflix has confirmed that they have signed up Lena Dunham, most famous for Girls.
Yeah,
a few years ago now, to write, direct, and executive produce a new show called Covers.
Right.
they are letting us set up a writer's room to pen an entire season worth of scripts inspired by real events. Covers poses the question, what if university life, the hard partying, test cramming, hookup regretting reality of a college student was actually a ruse for a more complex identity, one that no one would suspect, as intelligence officers working covertly for MI6. That sounds like just sounds like the plot of 21 Jump Street.
It does, yeah. That'd be interesting, though.
But she's on that. She's work starts imminently.
Cool.
With her putting her team together.
I'm sure we'll hear much more about that as it comes.
Some more numbers, because it's numbers week.
Cool.
From
I love
Netflix.
numbers week.
This time about Netflix games.
Oh, okay.
Is that Netflix have confirmed. So, calendar year 2023, the number of Netflix games downloads increased as compared to 2022 by 180%.
Oh, nice.
In 2023, there were 81.2 million downloads of Netflix games across Apple App Store and Google Play.
That's interesting. Because you only hear really bad news about the Netflix game stuff. But
yeah,
that's interesting that it's gone up that much.
As comparison, so that's, what did I say? 81.2 million. In 2022, it was 28.7 million.
Wow.
And in 2021, 5.2 million.
Wow. It only launched towards the end of 2021, though, didn't it? That's quite an increase.
A download isn't everything. There's quite a few times I've downloaded something and then got rid of it 5 seconds later. But
it's the only real thing they can...
Yeah, of course it is.
Metric, though.
Yeah. And you would expect that the start of 2024 would be good on that front as well, with the GTA
having the Grand Theft Auto
games that are on there, Football Manager Mobile. So certainly progress that Netflix can show there.
San Andreas is already the streamer's most downloaded game of all time.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I've not had a look at any of it. I've still barely used Netflix games.
I've used it a little bit. Mainly, I'd like to, if I'm like on a train or something, I just play a few puzzle games or solitaire, that sort of thing. So I've done a few of them. I'm not into like action games on my phone. That feels weird. I don't think I could play GTA on a phone.
I'm not sure if I
strange.
could. Yeah. Maybe the most unsurprising news story from Netflix is confirmation that they are at work on an NBA Netflix documentary. So in the style of Quarterback, Drive to Survive, all this sort of thing.
I thought they'd already done. Oh no, they did the Michael Jordan one, didn't they?
Yeah, but this is similar to Quarterback, where you're going to follow a number of players through the season. They have said that the as yet untitled series will follow around Anthony Edwards, who plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, some guy called LeBron James.
Never heard of him.
Boston Celtics Jason Tatum, Miami Heat's Jimmy Butler, and the Sacramento Kings Domantas Sabonis.
Nice. Well, good
He's
pronunciation.
my favourite.
He's your favourite?
Yeah, never heard of him. Well, he's got the best name.
I've never heard of anything except for LeBron James.
This is a production partnership from President Barack Obama's High Ground Productions and also Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions.
Wow. Some big names behind it.
Omaha were behind Quarterback, as you would expect.
Yeah. Cool.
I presume... So I think the NBA season runs like October to April, May.
No idea.
So my presumption is this is being filmed now during the current season. That is.
Got ya.
So we would probably see it towards the end, third and fourth quarter of 2024.
Sweet. I won't watch it. I've never really got basketball. It's one thing I've never really been into.
I think it's incredibly athletic and it's so quick, and I think it's such a skillful game. This is my absolute layman's. I've watched about 3 basketball games in my life, but what it always occurs to me with basketball, especially, isn't all the excitement in the last quarter.
Somebody said to me once, "I can't watch basketball because you only really need to watch the last 2 minutes."
Yeah,
and I'm like, Yeah, it's a good point.
But I mean, we went to a
No, you went to a local game, didn't you?
a few months ago, and it was a really good evening out. It was really,
I'm sure
really
it was.
fun. But yeah,
I've never been. All the other American sports I've been into at some point in my life, but I never really got basketball.
Star Wars news.
Okay.
I think people have been surprised by this news this week. There was obviously last year we had season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Season 1 of Ahsoka. And some announcements a couple of months ago that one of the new Star Wars movies would be a movie that brings the Disney Plus TV series presumably to a climax.
Okay.
That seems to have changed somewhat because that movie is still happening.
Right.
But in addition to that, Disney have announced they are starting work on a Mandalorian movie.
Oh,
which
okay.
will be entitled The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Who's Grogu?
He's Baby Yoda.
Oh. Is Baby Yoda not Yoda?
No, it's a different...
Oh, okay. I was just assumed that was a young Yoda.
No, this The Mandalorian is set after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
So
I've never watched
Yoda's
Mandalorian,
dead.
so Yoda's long dead.
Yeah, this is the same species.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. I just assumed it was before.
Fine, that's fine.
He was a young Yoda.
That's fine. Ahsoka season 2 has also been confirmed to be in development. So
Lots of TV shows.
this is all going to somehow merge together, and I'm sure be told in a completely coherent way.
Is there anybody out there? You know, like Kevin Feige looks after the Marvel Universe and knows everything about how they all interact. Is anybody doing that for Star Wars?
So you've got kind of. It's a few people. So you've got Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Looks after the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's going to direct this movie.
Okay.
A lot of the episodes of the Mandalorian would as well. He worked with a guy called Dave Filoni.
Right.
He's the guy who did all the animated stuff years ago, where like Ahsoka and all those characters came from. So he did that series on Disney Plus, and he's getting the movie that apparently is going to bring it all together. So there's no one head honcho. It feels like those guys are kind of in charge of it.
Got you. So because it feels like there's an awful lot of Star Wars stuff going on all over the place.
Yeah, but
it doesn't feel like it's coming together.
Well, they're only in charge of this.
Yeah.
As in the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, that route.
Area of the world.
Disney are still pimping out for
the actual films.
Other people are doing, there's various other Star Wars stuff in development that other directors are coming into.
Okay, it just feels a bit convoluted from an outsider's point of view of like, nobody's really concentrating on where all this stuff all ties together. It just feels like a bit of a mess, but I might be completely wrong.
But I mean, they have gone back to the drawing board on the whole movie releases, haven't they? So, yeah. I mean, we're now 5 years on since the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy to think about.
So
okay,
this could change again. There's a lot of the Star Wars announcements have changed a lot.
Yeah.
It does seem a bit scattergun.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see.
Next.
Replacements news.
Okay.
So we've talked before about Guillermo del Toro.
We have many times.
One of his next projects is his take on Frankenstein.
Oh, nice.
Where he had Andrew Garfield lined up to star in that alongside Oscar Isaac and Mia Goth.
Yeah.
Amongst other people. Andrew Garfield has had to depart
because of the
scheduling
strikes, I can imagine,
conflict. Okay. And stepping into his shoes will be Jacob Elordi.
Wow, okay. This guy really feels like he's about to land.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Saltburn's a really interesting film for me because it came out of the cinema to really nothing.
Yeah.
Then it hit Amazon and it's just gone viral.
It's all over the socials.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I feel like he might be able to gain some traction from that, and it looks like he might actually be doing that.
Yeah, it is really interesting. The impact it's had on on a home release.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it.
Because it did the old-fashioned route. It went cinema,
yeah.
Waited a few months, went streaming. That's what everything used to do, but now nothing really does. But it seems since it went to streaming, it's just shook the world. And it's a great film.
Yeah.
There's more shocking films out there.
Also confirmed, this is new announcements to this cast for Frankenstein are Christoph Waltz,
Okay.
Lars Mikkelsen,
Nice.
and David Bradley.
David Bradley gets everywhere as well.
He really does, yeah.
He was in a film I watched at the weekend.
Oscar Isaac is got the role of the scientist Victor Frankenstein. And yeah, this is a Netflix-backed film, so we will see. Will it have a cinematic release?
Yeah.
First, I would imagine so.
Similar release.
But that's starting to log quite the cast.
Yeah, I feel like Jacob Elordi's gonna make some big money over the next few years.
Talking of confusing sci-fi franchises, as we were a few minutes ago,
We were.
Paramount Pictures has announced that they are developing a new Star Trek movie.
Okay.
Which will be set decades before the J.J. Abrams Star Treks.
Okay. Star Trek is another thing I've never got into at all. I don't know anything about Star Trek.
No, I mean, once Luke Skywalker left, I just got really confused.
Yeah. I did watch that JJ one, but that's literally the only Star Trek project.
He's done 3.
Has he?
Well, there's 3 in that.
I might have seen 2. I don't know if I've seen all 3. But yeah, I don't really know.
But additionally, confusingly, Paramount have said the 4th J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie is still in active development.
Okay.
And essentially everyone wants to go back and do another round on that.
Right.
Which is sort of Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana. I don't know where you can see all these things in this country. I'm sure if you are into Star Trek, you are right on top of them. But
I think they're on Paramount Plus.
Do we have that over here now? Yeah, so Paramount Plus have got a whole slew of Star Trek spin-offs and universes going on. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of their big selling points.
Yeah. But this again, it's plans to bring the franchise back to the cinema. So
okay. Star Wars is coming back. Star Trek's coming back.
Yeah.
It's because Zack Snyder started a trend.
Look, Christopher Nolan said it himself.
He did.
He's influencing all this stuff. And the final piece of news is a cancellation. A cancellation of Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah, that's a shame. I did, when I saw this news article, I did realise I haven't seen season 2 of Our Flag Means Death, so this might be my fault.
I'm in exactly the same place, so it might also be my fault. Max will not be moving forward with a 3rd season of it.
That's a shame, because I really enjoyed the 1st season of Our Flag Means Death.
Yes, so did I, but I did really enjoy it. But it took me a while to get through it. It didn't sort of obsess me.
I watched it all in one day, the first season, because I worked. There's the one day I've ever worked from home.
Right.
I worked from home for one day, and I was working on one laptop and I had it on the other one whilst I was working. I did the whole thing in a day. But I never did season 2. And
interesting.
To be honest, I'd completely forgot it existed. But I will definitely watch season 2. Cool. Is that all the news?
That is all the news.
That is a lot of news. A big bumper edition of the news this week.
News never sleeps.
It does not. Have you watched anything good at the top of the stream?
I have really only watched one thing.
Okay.
And that was on actual proper TV, although not live, still on a catch-up service. But that would be the first 3 episodes of season 2 of The Traitors UK.
I'm obsessed with The Traitors. I love it.
It's great. Just the best reality show ever. And
yes,
it's so stupid and over the top. Yeah. I love it.
Something about it just works.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
Great popcorn TV.
It really is. I think it's because there's no public involvement in it.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's this one compact thing that's been filmed months ago. It's there. You can watch it. And it's just brilliant. So far, I'm really enjoying this season.
There's nothing as interesting as people.
No, there's not. And it's a really nice insight into people.
With high, tension. And they're put in this highly tense environment. And, I mean, we won't go into too many spoilers.
No.
But one guy just
His head went. His
fell
head,
apart in this show.
I've never seen somebody's head fall off before, and his head just fell off.
So if anyone's not
watch The Traitors. I've said this on this show many times.
If anyone's not familiar with it, it's basically a bunch of people get sent to a castle in Scotland.
Yeah.
It's basically Wink murder.
Yeah, it is. It's Among Us, the game. If you ever played Among Us, it's that.
So a group of people, a number of whom are selected as traitors, they get to kill someone every night, and the rest of them have to work out who it is. So one gets banished every night, one gets killed every night, until there's nobody left. And it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I feel like this season's a really interesting There was the first season of the UK show this time last year. They absolutely got lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And I was worried about the second season because people know how the game's played now, and it's never going to be the same as that first season.
No, they got to have different tricks and
they have. But it just seems to work. It's made maybe even slightly better now. People know how the game's played because it's made people more confrontational. And this season, as this season goes on, there's going to be a lot more fighting, a lot more in backbiting and fighting than there was in season 1. Everybody was really nice and loved each other in season 1. That ain't happening.
But you already this season in one of the episodes you've already got a bigger split. So when they're voting at the end, it's either because they've got absolutely no idea who the traitors are, or no one trusts anyone, and the votes are split a lot more across the board, aren't they?
Somebody asked me once if I'd ever do like a companion podcast to a TV show. You know, like people do, like follow each episode. I would do that on the Traitors in a heartbeat. I would love to just sit for half an hour after every episode and do a Traitors podcast.
Well, you know, Ed Gamble's got the official one because that's all he does.
Did you watch that? I don't like Ed Gamble. I don't dislike Ed Gamble. I like Ed Gamble. Some of his podcasts are great. Did you watch that Uncloaked?
No.
It was awful.
Was it?
He basically was doing a podcast whilst being on the TV. And then at the end, he just said, well, if you want to listen to the rest, we're on BBC Sounds. And then the show just ended.
Okay.
So it was like half an hour of his hour-long podcast just on the BBC. It was so weird.
That is odd.
But the only good thing about it is, they show the moment that the people who've been banished or murdered find out who the traitors are.
Oh, okay.
So after they've gone...
I just presume they didn't find out till... They didn't find out till...
No, they get told straight away.
When they watch the...
So they find out straight away, and because then they can talk, because there's always two. There's always a banished and a murdered. So those two get together, find out who it was, and then they can discuss about, I didn't think it'd be him, blah, blah, blah.
Were they surprised?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They were surprised. But that bit was quite interesting.
But that's it.
But yeah. But it's on after every episode now. Well, last week it was only on after the third one.
Right.
From now on, it's on after every single episode.
Okay.
But, yeah. I'm not too bothered about it. I won't be watching that, but I fucking love The Traitors. I think it's great. Anything else?
No, I think that's it for me this week.
I started a new TV show on Saturday.
Okay.
I started the first episode of The Brother's Son.
Right, yes.
Michelle Yeoh's new Netflix show.
Yeah.
I'd read a review, because I didn't intend to watch it, but I read an article earlier in the day telling me that it had got 100% fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Which for a Netflix original TV show is unheard of.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to watch the first episode of this. Admittedly, I've only still seen the first episode, but that's more because of my life getting in the way of my TV watching. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was really good. So basically the story is there's this gangster in Taiwan, I think he's in.
Uh-huh.
And his dad's like the lead gangster, and he's the son. And his dad gets shot. But then the people who shoot his dad threaten his mother and brother,
right, who
live a secret life in America, just living a normal life. They're not involved in this gangster world.
Got ya.
The mother's Michelle Yeoh, and the son has literally got no clue. So this gangster guy goes back to protect this family who live a completely different life to he does in LA.
Sure.
So that's the premise. And Michelle Yeoh obviously knows all this, but she's gotten out. But yeah, that's basically your first episode.
Cool. I can remember us talking about it in the sort of preview of the year, and it had rumblings of being something special.
So yeah, I'll stick with that. I'll let you know how I get on with that. Oh, the one that really interests me has come out today on Netflix. I think it's called Boy Swallows Universe.
Yes.
I'm really interested. I'll be watching that at some point as
well.
I've also seen 2 films this week. I did one on Netflix and one at the cinema. Which one do you want to know first?
Let's go Netflix first.
Netflix. I watched Good Grief on Saturday.
Oh yes, this is on my list.
Which is
Dan Levy's.
Dan Levy's new. He basically wrote it, directed it, and stars in it.
Sure.
It's about a guy who we've talked about it on the show. I think it's a gay couple. They are having a New Year's Eve party. One of them is an author, so he's got to get to Paris to do a signing the next day.
Yeah.
And he dies in a car crash literally 2 seconds from their house. They see it through the window. And then it's how Dan Levy's character gets over that and deals with this grief that he's got, whilst also finding out revelations about this guy that's died.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be really sad. Parts of it are really sad, but parts of it are quite actually uplifting as well.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a really sad movie.
Okay.
There obviously it deals with some horrible things, but the way Dan Levy's character deals with these things and gets over it is actually quite uplifting. I thought I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was Dan Levy's first ever directorial feature film.
I didn't know
I
that.
was really surprised by that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I went to the cinema on Monday of this week to watch a advanced screening of Poor Things.
Okay. What did you think?
Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe.
Yep.
I always getting mixed up with Christopher Walken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. It's batshit crazy.
Yes, I have heard.
It's basically a cross between Frankenstein and Edward Scissorhands.
Sure.
Emma Stone will win the Oscar for it. If she doesn't, she's been robbed, because nobody's been better than her in the last 12 months in this film. I've seen a lot more of Emma Stone than I ever thought I'd ever see. I've literally seen all of Emma Stone in this movie. It feels like the movie... this is a really weird thing to say. It feels like the movie that Tim Burton should have evolved into being making today.
Okay, instead of sort of flowery...
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Tim Burton from the 80s had evolved as a filmmaker... Yeah. This is where he would have ended up. I think.
Instead of all show, no.
Instead of just like adapting stuff that's already out there and just doing films for money, which he does. It feels like that, and it's excellent. It's on for too long.
Oh, really?
It's on for 2.5 hours.
Okay.
But I was never bored of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this movie.
Mark Ruffalo's great. Emma Stone is fantastic. It's good. It's really good. Awesome. But it's batshit crazy, and you will not understand what the fuck is going on. Because I still don't. And that's it. I think that's all I've seen this week.
Amazing.
So, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to do a slightly shorter wave. We've still done 45 minutes, so we're not actually that much shorter. We'll briefly talk about what we're going to watch on this week's movie show.
Yeah, come back to this very feed on Thursday. We have got a Patreon subscribers wildcard choice.
We have indeed. First
Alex
wildcard of season 10
has chosen a Korean movie, The Call.
The Call, indeed.
A supernatural.
So supernatural timey-wimey Korean horror movie.
Sure.
The one thing I will say, which we do say about most of the films on this, but you're going to want to have seen this film before you listen to our episode, because we're not going to be able to talk you through it without you knowing what's going on.
Good as we are at this.
Yeah. I still don't really know what was going on.
No, I think I'm cool with what was happening. I'm just like, with the best will in the world, we maybe can't do it justice.
Yeah. There's two characters in this who are both in two different timelines, but occasionally they're talking to themselves, to each other. But they've obviously got the same names, so it's really going to be difficult for us to clarify which timeline we're talking about at the time. Because the film doesn't even
a lot of my notes are just denoted by a year at the start of the sentence.
Same. And the scenes flick around so fast. It's going to be a fun one to talk about, but it's not going to be an easy one to talk about.
That'll be fine.
So, yeah, I would recommend watching it before you listen to us, because at least then you'll understand what the hell's going on. Plus, it's worth a watch. So, yeah, come back on Thursday for that. I think that's it. I think we've done a wave.
Sure have.
Shall we get out of here?
We'll be back here for the wave next Monday.
We will.
And back here on Thursday for The Call.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Bye.